Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Here's Eddie Frederick.
Welcome to Caribbean Perspective. So glad you can join us. The story that dominates in today's edition for Friday, 23rd May 2025, and brought to you in association with our friends at Antillean Group. St. Lucia's Prime Minister frames upcoming election as a choice between progress and political deceit. Details after this important message.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all, perils big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so clear to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
Welcome back. Prime Minister Philip J. Pay of St. Lucia is drawing battle lines ahead of the next general election, framing the vote as a high-stakes decision between continued progress under his leadership or, in his words, a return to deceit and lies under the opposition United Workers' Party.
It hurts my heart because I cannot understand how a group of men and women could deliberately set out to deceive and to fool people, even though they are seeing what they're saying is wrong.
Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre has begun shaping the narrative ahead of the next general elections, framing the upcoming contest as a defining choice for St. Lucians. Speaking at the SLP's Town Hall Tuesday event in Mico North, Pierre declared that voters will be deciding between the path of continued progress under the SLP or, as he put it, a return to deceit and lies under the opposition United Workers' Party. Emphasizing the stakes, he noted that the election is not merely about personalities or promises, but about competing values, styles of governance, and long-term vision for the country.
In this election, it's going to be the fight of good against evil. It's going to be a fight for people who love St. Lucia and for people who hate St. Lucia. It's going to be a fight between people who will join with any other person to destroy St. Lucia and against people who will join with investors to improve St. Lucia. That's the fight. It's going to be a fight between truth and lies. It's going to be a fight between deceit and honesty. It's going to be a fight between men and women of goodwill and men and women who are opportunists.
Echoing the theme of values-based leadership, Pierre encouraged St. Lucians to remain vigilant and to safeguard the progress already made under the SLP administration.
I urge you to keep your eyes on the prize. Keep your eyes on the prize, because you have to secure the victory for yourself and for your children.
For the DBS News World, Zane Romulus reporting.
The Coalition of Services Industries says government's restructuring of public utilities such as water and sewage authority is critical in ensuring citizens are afforded certain basic amenities. And former CEO of Tobago's tourism agency, Louis Lewis, believes Tobago should seriously consider the Sandals Resort brand as it can be a volume generator. Gisha Colasor Alonso has details in CNC3's Business Watch.
While welcoming government's move not to increase water and electricity rates, President of the TNT Coalition of Services Industries, Diane Joseph, is agreeing that an analysis of WASA and the TNTEC is important.
We are also very happy to hear that our government intends to conduct an analysis of the operations of WASA and TNTEC to better understand what has to be done to make them more efficient. Particularly WASA. There are many areas not yet experiencing a guaranteed 2-day-a-week water supply, far less for a 24-hour supply.
She adds that the TTCSI stands ready to collaborate in this regard. In other business news, former Tobago Tourism Agency Chief Executive Officer Louis Lewis says, as it stands now, Tobago is not competitive, as there is a lack of direct international connectivity with major source markets. He's advising that the island should seriously consider the Sanders Resort brand, as it can be a volume generator.
To get around that, you have to have the accommodation sector that is strong, positive, and can cause a flow of arrivals. And that is what a property like Sanders brings to the table. It's a volume generator. It can have, if done well, strong connectivity to the rest of the economy, like for agriculture and other services.
Lewis, who is now the St. Lucia's Tourism Authority CEO, adds that Tobago is going to struggle to be competitive in the regional tourism marketplace, as many islands have been upgrading their hotel stock. And that is what is needed to anchor the tourism growth on the island. He says unless that is done, and by not attracting a brand like Sanders, it is going to be a different task for Tobago to achieve its potential.
You see, the challenge is, if that is not done, what will be left is really the dominance of the domestic market that tends to consume rather than generate foreign exchange.
Lewis was speaking to reporters on Monday at the Caribbean Travel Marketplace Forum, currently taking place in Antigua. Geisha Kaulesa Alonso, CNC3 Business Watch.
Over in the Bahamas, where the Prime Minister and leader of the PLP, Philip Davis, criticizes the leader of the opposition's absence from the Grand Lucayan Heads of Agreement signing. Devontae Hanna of ZNS News reports.
Well, the Progressive Labour Party's headquarters felt like a campaign launch more than just a regular men's branch meeting. Standing before an energized crowd, Prime Minister the Honorable Philip Davis seemingly signaled the start of the governing party's aggressive bid for re-election.
Now's not the time to get comfortable. Now's the time to get battle ready.
Prime Minister, who was addressing the PLP's men's branch meeting on Sunday, also used the opportunity to take a jab at the opposition leader, Michael Pintard.
Michael Pintard wants to lead this country. But I have a simple question. What real job has he ever had? If Pintard never had a real job, who's been paying his bills? Because if someone has always been paying his way, that means someone else has always been in charge. And if someone else is in charge of his life, how can we trust him to be in charge of this country?
And it didn't end there. Next came criticisms for the F&M's absence from last week's $827 million heads of agreement signing for the redevelopment of Grand Bahama's Grand Lucayan Resort. And according to the Prime Minister, this despite being invited.
When the country makes progress, he goes silent or snares.
Are you serious?
When it's time to support something good, he finds a way to stand in the way. Why? Because what's good for the Bahamas is bad for the F&M.
While the government has dismissed rumors of an early election, former Prime Minister Perry Christie made one thing clear: tough decisions hang in the balance for the party leader.
Decisions will have to be made on who will be candidates in the next general election. Some people will be in, some people will be out. But at the end of the process, our foundation must be as strong as it can possibly be.
Now, of course, for the PLP, locking down a second term means fighting from the front, with its performance in office speaking for itself. Prime Minister Davis is drawing clear lines between his leadership and the alternative.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick, in association with our friends at
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
Who would be the next knighted citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis became a point of interest and excitement when SKNLP leader Dr. Terence Drew directed the question to the audience at a party annual convention held 18th May 2025.
At that point, a crescendo of voices called for former Prime Minister Dr. Denzel Douglas to be recommended for knighthood in 2026. The SKNLP leader raised the question after he indicated to the convention audience that he had raised the time frame with King Charles III, head of the Commonwealth of Nations.
If you think I have the opportunity to bestow such a high honor and a well-deserving citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis, who do you think that person should be? Comrades, I don't think you heard me well. Comrades, you have not heard me well. I can't hear you well. I can't hear you well. You have to stand up and say. You have to stand up and tell me so that I can hear it well. If the king wants to write back to the king and to tell the king on which citizen I should recommend that high honor bestowed, who do you think that person should be? 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 Comrades, I think that you are making a strong and correct recommendation tonight, and your recommendation to me will be taken very seriously. Comrades, I have heard you. Conference 2025 has heard you. You have made your strong recommendation, and therefore, as your humble servant, I have no choice but to take your recommendation in the highest regards. Thank you, comrades.
According to Dr. Drew, it is about the principle of the Labour Party, that is, to never forget the contributions of the party's leaders. Glenn Bard reporting for SK Newsline.
The ongoing gang war in Haiti's capital is escalating, and shootouts with police are becoming an almost daily occurrence. Armed groups now control more than 90% of Port-au-Prince. Haiti's gangster Jimmy Teresier has closed major highways and access points, making it difficult for police vehicles to travel. Sky News Australia reports.
2 armoured Haitian police vehicles manoeuvre into gang territory in the capital Port-au-Prince. They're probing gang defences. This is one of the city's main highways, but parts of it are closed, controlled by the gangster Jimmy Teresier, known by everyone here as Barbecue. Everyone scatters. They know what's coming next. We're in 2 armoured vehicles.
We're back. Okay, get in.
The police are targets, and we can film them coming under fire. The police reach the intersection. The police are being fired at from multiple positions, and rounds are getting closer to the Sky team.
That's close to wait. Let's go. Watch way. Right, we're going to get in. Right, get in.
So, obviously we're right on the edge of the gang terrorists. You can hear, but you probably can't hear them now, but there's been firing between the police. There's rounds, live rounds coming at us. At the police, but passing past us. The whole thing is now deserted. There were people walking on the street a minute or 2 ago. They've gone now. You can see the police cars are manoeuvring. We reverse as the police car loses its tyre, but continues. Getting out would be suicidal. Driving on its rim, they limp towards another crossroads to get away from the firing. We're told this is just an ordinary day in Port-au-Prince. By most estimates, the gangs control around 90% of Port-au-Prince now. People don't venture into these areas. Cars turn away to avoid snipers inside. The government's forces are trying to find ways to push the gangs back. Police take positions to offer protection. The sound of gunfire here is a constant. The big white building you see behind me is a bank. That is the demarcation line of where the gang territory that belongs to the gang leader, known as Barbecue, but his name is Jimmy Teresier. Now, we've been to his territory in the past to meet him. The point is, it was miles away from here, miles and miles. So it means they've pushed all the way up here. His gang, like others, are doing this across Port-au-Prince. Battered police vehicles crisscross the city. The attrition rate in what is a war with the many gangs of Port-au-Prince is high. The security forces need more of everything as they continue the fight.
I am Eddie Frederick, wishing you a restful weekend. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean.
In the meantime, please follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel for daily regional news and more, in association with our friends at Antillian Group.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all perils, big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so clear to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.